Parliament approves supplementary budget. Local government elections may be further delayed. And US $1.39 billion in natural resources fund. Hi, I'm Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. News happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Last night, Parliament approved a $47 billion supplementary budget. This is the second supplementary budget that has been approved in the last 4 months. In February, the $550 billion national budget was passed, the largest so far, and the first to be partially funded by our nation's oil money. The $2.9 billion passed last night reflected advances made by the government from the contingency fund between August to November. The remaining $44 billion was allocated to other government agencies. This includes around $6 billion in arrears paid to GPL. The Ministry of Public Works received $18.2 billion for various infrastructural projects in various communities around the nation. This morning, Parliament also passed the National Registration Amendment Bill. Just after modifications to Guyana's major elections legislation, the Representation of the People Act, were passed. Both sets of revisions are part of efforts to enhance the election system in Guyana. The revisions now mandate defined times for voter registration, the regular removal of deceased persons from the official list of electors, and the continual issuing of ID cards. They have also removed residency requirements, only demanding that voters at least have an address in Guyana. Well, this certainly will not open the door to more electoral mischief, I'm sure. Last night, 32-year-old gold miner Raphael Cadogan and his younger brother Clive Cadogan were the victims of a brutal chopping incident that has left Raphael dead and Clive clinging to life. According to reports, the two were attacked while they were sleeping by another miner with whom they had a disagreement with earlier that day. Clive is currently being evacuated from the Hopkinson mining camp in Aurora, Region 7. 28-year-old Javin Ragnoth pleaded guilty to being in possession of cocaine and marijuana for the purpose of trafficking, just 3 days after he and 3 others were detained for having more than 7 pounds of cocaine and slightly more than 3 pounds of marijuana. He claimed complete responsibility for the drugs. Yancy Garraway and Charles Jones, 2 additional individuals detained alongside Ragnoff, appeared in court to answer to the same allegations. Both pleaded not guilty but were denied bail and kept on remand. Ragnoff will return to court on December 21st. Meanwhile, a woman who was also arrested with them was subsequently released. The Sumintra Saw murder case has taken yet another turn. On Monday night, Mohammed Ramzan Shahid, also known as Baghi, admitted to giving the initial series of blows to the woman before returning to his residence, drinking rum till he fell asleep, and then getting up and fleeing the neighborhood in the morning when he heard the commotion. Shahid said he was hired to kill the woman so the niece she lived with could inherit the property. He had struck her several times about the head, but he claims that it was the woman who had actually stabbed her.
Did you know it's bad luck to start the new year with a Brock-up truck? Make this a December to remember with Powered Automotive. Powered Automotive has truck parts and spares from all the major brands you know and love at prices you won't find anywhere else. Visit them at 491 EE Eccles or call or WhatsApp them on 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana.
You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. In response to the opposition's court action, GCOM CEO Vishnu Prasad has recommended a 14-day exercise to amend the voters list. According to Prasad, this would not only ensure openness and inclusion, but also address the coalition's specific issue while engendering participation of the coalition support base in the local government elections. Despite warning that the measure would further postpone the elections, Prasad stated that the coalition's concerns must not be ignored. According to Prasad, in order to have a free and fair election, residents must be given the option to register after they have satisfied the eligibility standards, as well as the ability to object to people who may have not met the eligibility criteria. In other GCOM-related news, 3 GCOM employees, Chevron February, Denise Bob Cummings, and Carolyn Duncan, who are already facing criminal charges in connection with the 2020 elections, used their constitutional right to remain silent this morning when they appeared before the Elections Commission of Inquiry. After being asked to appear before the commission in February, and Bob Cummings requested an injunction yesterday to prevent their attendance. When the case was heard in the High Court this morning, the application was denied. Nonetheless, they were asked to testify. Upon taking the stand, however, each of the three ladies exercised their right to remain silent. February was charged with conspiracy to commit fraud in August of 2020. Bob Cummings and Duncan were charged with similar offenses. All of the ladies have refuted the claims. This morning, a fire suspected to have been deliberately started gutted a shop in Edinburgh, East Bank Bevies. According to a report, a burning garbage bag was discovered at the building's rear entrance around 2 a.m. Neighbors attempted to put out the fire, but due to the time of day, not many people were awake to help. When the fire department arrived, they promptly extinguished the flames. However, it was already too late to save the structure. The United States Embassy in Georgetown today presented the Ministry of Health with 3 oxygen generators. According to a press release from the U.S. Embassy, the oxygen generators are worth US $495,000. The generators will be installed in Region 1, the Mabaruma Regional Hospital, Region 9 at the Latham Regional Hospital, and Region 8 at the Mardia Regional Hospital. The donation is a part of a U.S. Department of Defense initiative in Guyana to assist Caribbean allies in improving their response capabilities. According to the statement, the oxygen generators would help to alleviate shortages in remote areas. This also comes on the heels of a donation from the Chinese embassy. So, interesting timing. Now for today's oil update. The Natural Resources Fund now stands at US $1.39 billion. In its monthly statement, the central bank said the account received US $177.14 million in profit oil, but no royalties for that period. Interest income earned during the period was US $4.13 million. Up to the end of 2021, the fund had accumulated US $607.6 million, which was assigned to support Guyana's 2020 budget. US $400 million of this has since been withdrawn in 2 tranches over the past year.
As an independent online news entity, being politically objective can cost you a lot of money in lost sponsorship opportunities. That's because most local companies are often too scared to associate themselves with a news entity that is uncompromising with the truth. We do appreciate our sponsors, as their support is what has allowed us to maintain our integrity without fear and remain dedicated to you, our viewers. Every night, thousands of viewers rely on Uncut News because they are tired of the biased and poorly presented mainstream media in Guyana. But to truly compete, we need your help to grow Uncut News from being the most watched online news to the most watched news in Guyana, period. Help us by becoming a monthly subscriber today. There are special rewards at every subscription level, including your name in the credits, personalized gifts, and more. Your monthly contribution helps us to stay independent by spending less time worrying about paying the bills and more time on keeping you informed. So click the link in the description of this video and become a subscriber today.
Which means it's officially robbery season. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, K9 services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Toyota Crown Athlete. It comes with Bluetooth mount rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo fog lamp, spot camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $9.95 million, or pay as low as $1.99 million down with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit the showrooms at 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, a lot to Amashi, and Southern Rico Century for this sweet tea. Now for our Uncut News Viewers Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it placed to us. Last night I asked, how do you feel about carbon credits being sold on the Guyanese stock market? Willow Darrow says it's a great idea, but they see 2 problems with this. 1, the government will most likely not allow the common citizens to invest, since it will probably be a friends and family affair. And 2, if it's on the stock exchange, we might not see a single cent in returns unless it's just me, who mostly probably invested in an untrustworthy company. The name is in those words. I'm still waiting since 2009 for 1 cent return. Yes, return, not returns. Oh my, that sounds like some terrible, terrible performance. Jerry Dryram says, it's a good idea to not only put that, but other things on the stock market for normal citizens to invest. But like other areas of investments in Guyana, the common citizens will never be given the opportunities. In the US, the guy who works in a warehouse can invest in the stock market. True, they even have apps for that. Guyana is investing in cane cutters, bauxite workers, call center workers, and construction laborers. The top-paying jobs and investments are only for the chosen. This is promoted by the government as well as the opposition. Sadly to say, you're absolutely right. It's just one big party of elites. That's why they call it a political party. Because it's one big party, and you're not in it. And finally, Lash said, nope, because we would not get to invest. The big boys with the load would yam up the credits before the small man could buy any. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it may be for the best that the government act as the recipient of the proceeds from the sale of credits on the behalf of the small man. Sadly to say, we have a deep distrust in financing in this nation. Well, I understand because there is a serious lack of sources for said financing for the common man. We definitely have to do something about this if we truly want to have development in this nation. Before we get to tonight's question, special thanks to David Griffith. He's our first monthly supporter. You can support what we're doing here by clicking on the link in the description. Now for tonight's question. We are seeing hundreds of millions of dollars going into our Natural Resources Fund, and we've seen several hundred million taken out. So now I want to know, how do you suggest the government invest the money from our Natural Resources Fund? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Nuko Bullfoot saying, good night, folks.